Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Saturday Night Dialogues. I'm laughing, pardon me. DJ She-Hulk with boots on the ground. I'm just thinking about we have real boots on the ground with Goldilocks contacts. So we've heard of boots on the ground all over Dinar land. Those are fake boots that not even on the ground, just pink boots maybe under somebody's table playing toe jams and stuff, but not real boots on the ground out there in Dinar land with these people. But that was just a very interesting song. Folks, let's get started. It is Saturday Night Dialogues. It is May the 17th, 2025. Let's get into some prayer and get this call kicked off. We have a very jam-packed call for you tonight, so let's get into it. Father God, we always give you honor, we give you grace, and we thank you. We thank you for all that you have done up until this point, and we thank you for what you are going to do for each and every one of us in our lives. We thank you for allowing us to be a part of this opportunity. We thank you for the journey, for the ups and the downs, the lessons learned, which those lessons we know will turn into blessings. We ask that you allow each and every person to be able to move wherever they are on the highways, byways, and traveling. We ask that you give everyone the ability to even make it to the end of this journey so that they can receive the blessing that they've been waiting on for so very long. We ask that you continue to give people the discernment to continuously awaken from being out there in Dinar land, being confused and distracted. But we also give you the glory, because many of the people that are out there were able to find the truth and the facts by going through those same guru channels that have served actually a purpose, which is your purpose more than anything. So we are still grateful. So we appreciate you. We glorify you in your precious name. Amen. All right. Real quick, our announcements. We'll roll right through them. Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room. In case you don't know, the hours have changed. We're closed the weekends, but the hours are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is the place, Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room, where our members are able to get the breakdown of the Goldilocks articles. And also they are there to be able to get the guidance on the 8 steps to establish relationships with the actual bankers who are responsible for exchanging your currencies at the RV, and also establish relationships with the bankers who will manage your wealth after the RV. And that's where Wiley, myself, and the tribe welcome members to take them through that process. Then we have D's room, where D drops a ton of articles related to the global currency reset and global financial banking news. And then we have crypto finance news with Dave Big Dog, where if anything related to crypto, that is the room you are able to go into and ask your questions. Then we have, of course, the daily podcast with over 1.4 million views. on YouTube, and that's Goldilocks Global Banking News. All right. Now, tonight, we have two very amazing members that are going to give their updates. And then right after that, the topics tonight is how Trump is bringing peace to the Middle East. And this is actually a part of resetting the global markets for the currencies. And we've already seen and are seeing the remnants of that as well. Part of that is going to touch on Syria, whereby, of course, is a neighbor of Iraq, and Syria has ended their 14-year war. They're going to be resetting. They're going to have a currency reset. Last and not least, we're going to touch on the intel call that the beautiful D and Goldilocks and myself had with the CBI this week. And so we will get into that. So we have the members tonight that are going to share their bank story, their updates. Is going to be KK and Shaggy B. And then, of course, the one and only Peculiar Ram will read our articles with her eloquent self. And so what I would love, let's bring KK on first. Then we'll get to Shaggy B. KK, if you can raise your hand, if you're sure. Are you here yet? Oh, there you go. All right. Whoops. KK. If you are able to unmute, and if you guys can't hear me, I need to do something real quick.
Hello?
There you go. I think I hear you, young lady. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and how are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you. Young lady, you haven't been around that long. How long have you been around? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Well, to be totally honest, I joined your room probably when it opened.
Okay.
However, I got so confused and just overwhelmed with everybody saying something different that I just totally and completely walked away from everything.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, I think I started watching your room again about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. We'll consider you still brand new 2 weeks ago because you were out there in the wilderness and for so long. And
Absolutely.
Wow, that is so amazing. Because I remember, and I was talking to Wiley earlier, and he remembered as well, like 2 weeks ago, you just jumped into the room, you asked for the steps, you literally followed to the T all the steps. You didn't go in there with guru breath. You didn't rush. You took your time. And then all of a sudden, you had a meeting with the wealth manager, I think this past Wednesday?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So help me understand how within 2 weeks, what did you do? I mean, I know what you did, but I would like for you to share how 2 weeks ago you jumped right in and just walk us through what you did and how you did it so others can learn from you.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to remind you that I spent years filling out other people's forms and changing them every few weeks and making a binder and buying all kinds of different things. And, I did that over, like I said, years. Right. So when I found out that your room had actual instructions that made sense, because, like I said, I walked away after it just got crazy. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I was told, I was insured that the RV was going to be next Friday. I mean, there was always a definite. So anyway, when I found out that your room had, like I said, steps that actually made sense, I said, well, let me go ahead and try this and see if I can do it. Yeah. So that is when I reached out to you. I read through your room a little bit, which is not easy because you guys put almost 500 posts on there a day. You have a lot of people. Anyway, I read through what I could and decided I needed to find these steps. So I think that's when I contacted you, or
Oh yeah, by DM.
yeah, but well, I couldn't
That's
because I
right.
couldn't talk in the room for some reason.
Okay.
I never ever passed Rosie. You know, her and I
Okay.
don't get
Okay.
along too
Gotcha.
well. So anyway, yeah. So that was about 2 weeks ago. You gave me the steps. They were very clear. You know, I'm lucky I had a little banking experience, so I kind of knew a little bit of the beginning parts.
Okay.
That day, I found my tier one, which I pretty much knew who it was. Called about the currency exchange, got that. Went in the second day and opened up just a basic $100 account. Spoke with the customer service agent that was handling my account and told her, and just asked her if there was a wealth management department in that particular branch. And she said there was, and would I like to meet the gentleman who handles everything? And I actually told her no.
Okay.
I didn't want to seem too overzealous.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what y'all all about. Don't go in there with guns blazing.
Right.
So I told her, no, I don't really have time right now, but I'll call and schedule a meeting. So the next day, I actually called and got the gentleman's name and looked him up. You helped me do that. Looked him up on that website.
On FINRA.
Yes, he looked great. He's been doing this a long time. Had no, X's by his name, and so I called, made an appointment, and I had one within 2 days. So this is about a week, I guess it took. And when I went in there, they asked me where the money was coming from, and basically all I said was, well, I made an investment quite a few years ago, and I'm really not at liberty to talk about it yet. However, I can assure you it's legal, because they were looking at me like I was trying to get, a Nigerian prince was trying to get money from me or something. So I said, I can assure you it's legal, but I do not have a time frame, and I'm not in control of that. So I used your words to the T. And that's all she wrote. From then on,
that's thanks to Glass Half Full, who is the author of that. Yes.
Well, whoever that is, I don't know you yet, but thank you. At that point, we talked for about an hour. I never once mentioned the RV. And I know how you say don't mention Jamie Dimon, but boy, he did. So I just listen. I didn't say a word. Answered each and every question. I typed up your
Wiley's questions.
Wiley's questions. Thank you, Wiley. I typed them up and printed two copies, one for him and one for me. I did not email it ahead of time because I just totally completely ran out of time.
That's okay.
So I brought it with me, and I handed him the paper, and I said, this is basically what I would like you to answer for me. A friend of mine who currently uses a wealth manager helped me come up with the questions.
Okay.
And basically his exact words were, boy, your friend is very smart. These are perfect questions.
Right.
So see, you guys are very smart. And he ended up answering each question one by one. After he answered the question, he asked me if I had a question about it.
Okay.
He had his assistant in the room with him taking down notes. I also brought some paper, and I took down my own notes.
Okay.
And we talked for about an hour. So, he said to let him know, when things look like they're going to happen. And he said we could go from there. But I'm very comfortable with him. I know, I really, he answered the things, he said things I liked to hear,
For example?
For example, we were talking about his investment strategies, and
Okay.
when I asked him what he would do with something, he said, "Well, I can explain that to you." He said, "But it's going to be different because you're different, and there's a huge difference in age." So, he actually said, people that I take care of, I handle, I do this for one person, but I might do this for somebody else. And he was
Mm-hmm.
explaining it more in depth, but
Mm-hmm.
he just made sense to what he was talking to me about. And
Right.
when he was talking about the team,
Mm-hmm.
he made sure to answer my questions about financial wealth continuing when
Okay.
I'm gone for my kids,
Gotcha. Okay.
grandkids, things like that. And he
Mm-hmm.
was very comfortable with that. They work with um, other attorneys and people who can actually do things with taxes and trusts and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm a little older, so I'm probably going to need a lot of that.
Right.
I asked him some of my own questions, but made sure
Mm-hmm.
not to mention the things I wasn't supposed to mention.
Right.
Um, Came back, told you guys about it, and asked this question: if I'm comfortable with him, should I still continue to talk to others? And
Mm-hmm.
I was told that it's probably best if I actually see another
Mm-hmm.
one or two.
Absolutely.
And so this time I have an appointment next week with someone who works for a private wealth management company.
You are rolling.
Why? Why hesitate?
That's
Right? I
right.
mean, we want this thing to come tomorrow, so if it comes tomorrow, I'm ready.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know?
Versus waiting for a notification and continue to sit back and wait, expecting every Friday, like you've been told. Let's
Oh my
let's get
God.
Wiley in here. Wiley, you want to jump in here, my good man?
Yeah, hey, well, welcome back, KK.
Thank you. Hi, Wiley.
Hello. Um, First and foremost, what was your plan? I know you said there was so much information out there and you kind of left because it seemed overwhelming. What was the catalyst to really get you back in? And what was your plan before you really saw the steps that we laid out that could help somebody kind of get a plan together?
Okay. Well, I left, like I said, because of assurances. Now, I'll be honest. I really think that there's some genuinely good people out there in Denali, how you call it,
Mm-hmm.
that really probably thought they were doing what's right and were just getting incorrect information themselves. But there are also the ones out there that are totally and completely off the charts that just, you know, make up their own information out of their own head. So, again, I left because I just was overwhelmed. But my family all thought I was totally crazy because every month I was telling them it's going to be this month, it's going to be this month,
Mhm.
and yeah. So I finally said, forget it. Y'all opened Jaw's room. I kind of went to that room, and then you were saying something totally different. And I'll be honest with you, it actually made me sad because y'all were saying it wasn't going to happen right away, and there were a lot of things that need to happen before it could happen. So I was kind of sad at that point, and so I left. Well, a friend of mine let me back up. Recently, I've been watching the news. I've always watched the news, and I stay very current with what's going on. And I started hearing about all the tariffs, the trade deals, the bills that are in Congress, what Trump is doing, blah blah blah, and it started making sense. That maybe things are trying to line up a little bit. So I'm a person that doesn't like to be caught off guard. So I decided to get back on and see what people were saying. And that's like I told Freedom Fighter. As soon as I got back to your room and find out there was a method, why not go ahead and do it and be ready? I don't like to be caught off guard. I don't like to miss out either. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get it ready. It'll be there. And then I can, be quiet again for a little while.
And that method we showed you, you know for a fact works.
step by step, very easily. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. So, I mean, you guys have been awesome. I mean, y'all are great. Everyone's answered my questions, um, led me to do what I've done very easily. So I just feel ready now.
And
Whereas
that's,
before,
yeah.
I almost stopped believing.
Well, that's where we want you to be, and I agree with you. I think there's some good people out there trying to do good things. Then you have the other lot of them just kind of stick their finger in the air and make things
Hmm.
up. And I think that's what confuses a lot of people. So we try to take it at a different approach to give you the breakdowns that we're seeing to the
Right,
best of our knowledge and break those down for folks. But on the other side of it, you're going to need a plan. What
right.
is the plan to carry on the wealth? Because we hear so many people, oh, I'm going to go do this project, do that. Well, how are you going to do it? Well, I'm just going to take some of my proceeds and I'm going to go do that. Well, why would you do that? You're throwing
Yeah,
good money after bad or bad,
right.
yeah, because you don't know if your business is going to make it. Now, if you go invest it and you get this wealth advisory, they're going to be there to help you, guide you, and put some rails around. Just like, okay, let's make some money, and then you can take your interest and then go work a project with that.
Absolutely. Well, I
Now you're
told
not
him,
ever chasing money because your money's already working, and you can go
right,
focus on your goals, whether it's a not for profit or a true humanitarian or it's a business or whatever,
right.
and you don't have to worry
I
about the
asked
funds
him if
anymore.
he had any experience with you know opening up, uh, actually doing philanthropy. I cannot say that word. Giving
Yeah,
Philanthropy.
money, not
philanthropy. Yeah.
donating. My tongue doesn't do that. Anyway, yeah, if I told him that that was very important to me. That I wanted. Basically, he asked me what I want, and I said, well, to whatever extent possible, I would like to live off my interest, be able to set up my kids and grandkids, and I also want to set up some kind of organization when so I can donate, because I just feel that's what God has put in my heart to do. There's certain things that I'd like to do. However, again, my first thing was, let's find out a way to live off my interest. I'm simple. I don't need a lot.
Hmm.
So, and he was comfortable with that. He said he has helped people do that before. So that was another thing he said that made me feel good.
That's it. And now, was this at a bank or was this an independent firm,
That
wealth
was the
management
bank.
firm?
That
Okay,
was
that
the
was a
bank.
bank. Okay,
Yeah. And they
um,
didn't know me from Adam. I had never banked with that bank.
interesting. And it was a tier one, obviously. And the
Correct.
next one you're going to, is that another internal to a bank or is it
It,
a wealth
this
management
was a
firm,
private wealth management.
private firm?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Now he did say that he said that that it was better to use someone in a bank because they can actually make changes and transfers and do things within a day. Whereas if I was with a private firm, it would take me several days. Now I don't know how true that is.
That is
Um,
accurate.
okay. Okay. Well, see, he didn't lie to me.
Hmm.
So yeah, so this time it's a private wealth management company.
Yeah. And I think you're going to find some very, very similar things, but then you're going to find that they have more depth and breadth underneath them at the bigger firm.
Okay.
That
Well,
doesn't
can you
mean
use both?
one's better than the other, but we encourage
Right.
people to use both. That's called diversity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
diversity
Well,
is never a bad
I
thing.
might end up doing that.
Hmm. Excellent. And again, what was your plan before all this? Just to set it in a bank and hope for the best?
Oh no. I had all kinds of I had all kinds of trusts set up, and um, had money coming in to do this project and that project. And oh, just if I go into it, y'all gonna know who I listen to. But anyway, um,
That's fine.
my point is, I had my own plan.
Yeah.
I was just gonna throw it to anybody that wanted it and tell them to invest it. I was not even,
Hmm.
like I
Yeah.
said, you know who I was talking about.
Well, let me ask you real quick. Do you still have some of those trusts already structured and built?
I do, and I will keep them. Um,
Absolutely, and put those in front of your bank or your private wealth management firm to see what they can do and run those past their compliance officers and
okay,
ensure, because a lot of times they're able to use those. Sometimes they might have to massage them,
right.
but you already have them built. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use what you got and just put it in
Okay.
front of them when the time comes.
Yes, I will. I'll definitely do that. Yeah, I mean, I paid for them. Why not keep them, right?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Use what you got. Yep.
That's right.
Right.
This is
So,
Wow.
excellent. Well, I'm
Yeah.
happy you came back. You had such a quick turnaround. You hit the ground running. Freedom told me about you. I'm like, she just joined the room, didn't she, 2 weeks ago? How's she already?
Right.
I mean, we got folks that'll be 6, 8 weeks before they even get to this point. She's done it in a week or two.
well, I
Mm-hmm.
think people are just scared to take that first step. You know, it's a real big thing because we had the fear of going in there and having them tell us we're crazy too. And I guess
I'm gonna,
if you make sure you know what to say, which is easy because you give us the words.
yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
tell you what a very wealthy individual told me one time. Always bet on yourself.
Absolutely,
That's
Always.
right.
absolutely.
And I think KK, one of the things that a lot of people I agree, are a little afraid of the bank, but
Hmm.
also a lot of people that follow gurus are just hoping, wishing, and praying that they're right.
That's what I
So,
was.
so therefore, sit back, don't do nothing, don't establish no relationships, just wait for a notification because that's easy to just
Right,
wait. So that I think majority of people, that's what majority of people are doing. They're just
right. And
hoping. Hmm.
you could do that. You can sit there, trust that you've done your preparation the right way, trust that you're going to get an email and you can call and set an appointment and go to a center and, you know, whatever, you've got all your forms in order. Um, you can trust that, or you can try to find someone who has a differing opinion and go ahead and put that into place too. Yeah, that's what I told another friend of mine who actually is in this with me, who
Hmm.
wasn't in your room. It's like, what would it hurt to go and listen to these guys and do what they say? It doesn't hurt to be ready. She still believes the other person.
Of
It's like,
course, yeah.
it's like, what is it going to hurt? Okay, go ahead. You got your stuff over there. You're ready. What's it going to hurt to come over here, listen to Freedom Fighter and Wiley, and do things their way too? It's not going to hurt a bit, but you know what?
Hmm.
You're going to be ready either way.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You did such a fantastic job within 2 weeks. And then now you have a private wealth management meeting this coming week, next week.
Yes, this coming
That
Wednesday.
is,
I have, yes,
that's
I have
Wednesday.
to get it over with, get it done with, and know what I want to do.
That is so awesome. And your story is going to inspire so many people because
Oh,
you just jumped in and moved so fast. You just followed, like you said, you just followed the steps. It's
yeah. Y'all make it so easy. I mean,
you
like I said,
try.
you give us the exact words to use. I mean, how
Yeah.
hard is that? Come on. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a team, great
Yeah.
team. God has blessed us.
Hey,
Yeah, well,
KK,
Amen.
do come back and
Oh, I will.
let us know the difference between a tier one bank wealth manager and your experience at a private firm.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
I'll
awesome.
let you
We
know
look
next
forward
week.
to. All right. Thank you so much. Whatever we can do
Thank
to
you
help
guys.
you, we're in the room for you.
Oh, I know. Thank you. All have a good night.
All right. You too. Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Folks, okay. Folks listening, all you got to do is click the link, top of the description, on YouTube. You can join the amazing KK and others who are just following the steps, prepared and ready, getting their ducks in order, not waiting for the fairy tale tooth fairy Santa Claus to come down the chimney, guru to give you a notification. None of that spooky dooky stuff. This is real. All right. Next, we have up the amazing Shaggy B. If Shaggy B can unmute, let's get her to the microphone. Shaggy B, if you can unmute, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, Shaggy B. I know you can do it. Shaggy B.
Sorry,
There
I'm
you go. There you go. Are
not
you? Were
texting
you?
me.
Were,
That's my
were
husband
you?
thing.
Were you using your toes to try to unmute? Use your hands
Oh,
next time. Use your fingers.
no, absolutely not. My toes aren't long enough for that.
How you doing, young lady?
I am doing.
Doing. My lord, you shared your amazing update. You had a little how can I say it?
A hiccup.
Hiccup. There you go. That's a perfect analogy. That's a perfect word. You had a little hiccup. I would love for you to share with people because it's real and others have had hiccups. But I would love for you to share your hiccup and then what you did to correct it and where you are now. Let's just share that if you can, young lady.
Absolutely. So I originally had my meeting with, actually had 2 meetings in the month of January, I think in the same day. And I had one with a tier 1 bank and the second was with a wealth management firm. And I had my meeting. It went great. They answered every question that I had emailed them prior, as did the wealth management, the private firm.
Uh-huh.
And they answered all of my questions. Everything felt right. It was fine. But then it's like the hiccup came afterwards because I knew it had to be something that I wasn't doing. I was like, no, there's something I'm not doing. It's either I'm lacking in confidence or I literally felt like I was going in there like out shaking like jelly, like I was at their one, but it's actually me who, it's like I have to choose you. I don't have to choose you. I can go with someone else, but it didn't come across that way. Right. So I had my meetings in January. The one with the private firm actually went for me a lot better just because we built a better rapport because we both have foster children. He actually adopted his children. So we literally built a rapport off that and around that. Like I just email him randomly asking about the kids and he'll email me. Like we built a great foundation. So that helped. But with a tier 1 bank, it was kind of lagging because while there was some rapport there, it was just like, oh, let us know when you're ready. Oh, let us know when you're, going to move forward and all this other stuff. And I was just like, dude, I am not, it's got to be me. So I took a step back and then life happened. Life was lifing and parents got sick. Kids I have 3 kids. And each one got sick at a different week. So I was dealing with that. Then I got sick and I never get sick. And then I was just like, dude, I can't do this. Like, I cannot do this. So I had to take a break. And then I was, listening to the news. And I would come in the room sometimes just because I had to take a break from Telegram. And I was listening to the news. I was still watching Goldilocks channel. And I was like, man, stuff is really moving in the news. Like, I've been stopped listening to the guru Fufu because I was literally just ready to knock all their tables over because I hear one of you people say, oh, it's tomorrow, or my banker said that he's going to give me a date. I'm like, you're a freaking moron. Nobody knows the date. Like, I'm very blunt. My husband is from Jersey, so I had to learn to fend for myself. So I'm very, and then I was like, I have to get back in this thing because I can't. There is no notification. There is no notification. Why do I say that so confidently? Because my husband used to work for a very large telecommunications company. And when I told him that about a notification, he said, I just want you, that makes no sense. He was like, do you know how physically impossible that would be and how many things would need to be put in place in order for that to happen? And when he said that, my husband does not lie to me. No matter how hard the truth is, he will gut punch me in a minute. And I was just like, oh, well, he's like, yeah, no, I don't know who told you that or why they're saying that, but a notification of that magnitude, allegedly, he's like, it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that and I was like, well, that just confirms what Freedom and them have been saying anyway. So thank you for that. But so I decided recently, I think it was it had to be last week or this week that just passed. And I was like, you know what? I can't just sit here. I can't keep sitting on my hands. I have 3 kids and probably going to take on more because I love kids. And apparently I love being the ringleader of a circus. So I'm like, I need something. I need a foundation to start building so that my children and my children's children will not have to worry about finances if they want to invest in something, if they want to open their own business, if they want whatever they want to do, they will have it at their fingertips with guidance. So I got back in the room, and that's when I was like, look, I'm just being transparent. I fell by the wayside, and these people, that's what I call them. That's what I call anybody who gets on my nerves. And these people were saying, oh, well, just let us know when you're ready. And I'm like, that's not what Lady Unique said. They didn't tell her that. Mm-hmm. And that's not what this person said. That's not like, no, something ain't right. That's why when you said no, well, maybe it's just not a perfect fit. And I was like, you know what? That kind of ripped the Band-Aid off for me. So I emailed them, told them what the private firm was prepared to do. Thank you for their help and all their parts. And I told them I'll keep in contact with them. You know, I decided to do this going forward. And it literally they literally pumped the brakes and they're like, wait, pause. So our banking system does have access to all these things you need. And he started explaining how from one level, like up to, I'll throw out a number, up to 5 million. But if you have up to 50 million, it's this. So let us go ahead and set up an appointment for you so we can figure out where you are confidentially. And I know confidentially means he's still going to try to ask that question and he's still getting nothing. That's why when Lady Unique said that, I was like, thank you for I love the foundation that I get from this room because then I can tweak it and make it my own because I'm still not saying a doggone thing. Like, no, you have to come up off some details before I come up off of anything. Like I don't. First of all, I like a challenge. So if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to bet you your money that I'm going to do it. So like that literally stoked a fire under them. So I got my appointment scheduled for the 28th in the morning. And then the private firm, he actually emailed me this week. Like he had already known, he is the vice president for his region. And he told me he hadn't even known anything allegedly about the foreign currency. Like, because I was open with him, but that's only because I felt like I could be because we had already built such a great relationship. And even before then and after that, now, I do not recommend that for anybody else. Do what Freedom tells you to do. Don't listen. Be like Freedom. Don't be like Shaq. So I told them that I had, he asked me what were our investments. And I said, well, we do have some crypto. And the truth is we do have some. I just don't know what, because I am not tech savvy. I couldn't even unmute my laptop. So I told him that's my husband saying he has quite a variety of things. He has a large portfolio. And I was like, we do have some currency. He did not seem off put by it. He actually was like, whoa, that sounds interesting. Let me look into it. And the other day, I think like 2 days ago, he emailed me back and he was like, well, it does look like there's a currency reset that's going to happen, which is going to increase your holdings. And I'm like, oh, you don't say.
You didn't put that in the room.
No, because I didn't have time.
That's right, because you were driving, right?
Yeah, I was driving.
That's right. You were on the road typing in the room. That's right.
And let me tell you something. I was on the road in the car driving, shoving a sandwich in my mouth at the same time. So I was like, look, I'll just have to explain it a little bit more later because this sandwich has got to go down.
Can you repeat, just in case if people didn't hear what the wealth manager said to you about the currency reset. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, he said it looks like there is a currency reset that's going to occur and that it would increase my, and he said if it does occur, it looks like it's going to increase your holdings. And then he asked me if, I wanted to set up a meeting to discuss it further. Now that was Friday. He has way more kids than I do, so we'll probably follow up with each other on Monday.
Well, that's just a mic drop right there.
Yeah, when he sent that email back, I literally looked at it and I was like, excuse me?
Oh, that was via email he sent that.
Yes,
I thought you meant he said that on the phone. So
Nope.
you have a paper trail of this
I
communication.
sure do, and I'm holding on to it. I'm gonna print it out. That's why when he sent it in email, I looked at it and I was like, excuse me?
See, and for a banker to send that via email, that's extreme confidence. And Wiley, you want to jump in here if you don't mind? This confirms what Wiley, myself, and Goldilocks has been telling people. These bankers, they know more than what they're saying. It really was a shift in you that allowed this communication to proceed the way it did. Mm-hmm. Wiley, you want to jump in here, my good man?
Yeah, I talked to you briefly about this a little bit, Shaggy, when you were in the room, but good for you. But I want to tell you, we do hear from bankers, and we hear that they have to go through a dozen or more people before they get somebody who understands money mechanics and what it is they're invested in and asking the appropriate questions, because so many times they come in, they have no clue what they need, no clue what they're asking, and it's just all the guru nonsense, and they get dismissed so quickly. That's why banks are so reticent and off put when you start talking about some of this stuff. And that's why they're always like, well, come back when you got it, or come back later. So we understand that. I mean, that's just par for the course, with a lot of people going to the banks just ill prepared. But good for you building a relationship with this private guy that he has confirmed with you. This is happening and your holdings will increase. Let's get together and discuss some strategies.
Yep. And it like, because that I kind of felt vindicated because, of course, before I came to this blessed room, I had spewed quite a bit of guru foo-foo, and I was just like, okay, this thing, I there is no way I am that crazy. Like, I am a few beans short, but there is no way that just not all of these people, like, there's no way that unanimously nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I feel like when I came to this room, got the education, stop. I'm not going to mention any names, but I stopped listening to a couple of lying people who would, amongst others who would say, oh, this week, oh, that week. And I'm like, dude, listen, it's at this point, it's like the second coming. It'll come when it comes. Like,
but stop trying to realize the power you have now, that you truly have somebody in the know in your sphere who is going to guide you and knows what it is you have and where it's going. You don't need anybody else. You don't need to be listening to anybody else but that man.
Mm-hmm.
That is your boots on the ground. That is your true source. That's who you need to go be talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to encourage people to do, is go build these rapports so you have a direct contact of when this happens, you'll know before anyone.
Exactly. I really encourage people, like, that's the, one of the main reasons why I agreed to just come on, because usually I do not like public speaking at all. I most always put my foot in my mouth. I'm used to the flavor at this point. And I'm like, if I can encourage someone else to, like, get off your butt and just go do it. Like, I think it was Lady Unique who told me, practice in the mirror if you have to, what you're going to say, but do whatever needs to be done. Like, and also come to the realization that this is your future. This is your money. You need to be doing the research. It's great that we can come to this room and, get a boost and get the confidence that we need. But You have to do the research yourself. You have to know what you want to do, not the, like KK was saying, not the binders, because I too am a binder person, was a binder person. And you have to know what you want to do. Do your research, see what you want to invest in, see, if you want to buy silver, if you want to buy gold, or whatever it is that you want to do, you have to know what you want to do. This is your money. Because if you don't know what you're doing, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to want to help relieve you of said money. And then you'll be broke in less than 5 years. You will literally be like a lot of the lottery winners who win their money and they're broke within 5 years.
Yeah.
So true. Wow. Amazing. What I would love, since you mentioned Lady Unique several times, she's such an amazing leader, mentor. Lady Unique, you want to unmute and say anything to this young lady that you have inspired?
Good evening. I am so very proud, happy. I'm sitting here cheesing and grinning. Shaggy B, you did it. You grabbed it. You did it. Excuse me, y'all. Ain't no stopping you now. You're on the move. Congratulations, my
Thank you. And you know what? You sound exactly like I thought you would sound. Your voice is like a warm cup of coffee.
Well, thank you. Like I say all the time, this here is too awesome of a blessing. And the knowledge that we say all the time from Freedom Fighter and Wiley and Goldilocks, helping us embrace and understand the blessing. And it's foolish not to share for people that really care, want to get it on. And you never know who you might help, because others have helped me, and I'd be ding dang if I blow my blessing, I'm out to help. So I am ecstatic. I am happy for you, Shaggy B, and you keep that aura you have. Don't let nobody change it. That's your road. You walk it.
There you go.
Congratulations, girl. Congratulations.
I feel like saying amen. Amen.
Thank you, Lady Unique, for coming on. Shaggy B, love your story. You had the little hiccup. You came back. You got it right, and it was all meant for you to go through the ups and the downs and the hiccups. Now your story is going to inspire thousands and thousands of people, especially with the fact that you've been able to share your confirmation from the actual banker that the global currency reset is happening, is going to happen, and your holdings will increase. Just imagine if you had not had the urge to come back and follow the steps. Just imagine where you would be. You wouldn't have had this confirmation from the actual banker, would you?
Nope.
Just imagine the rest of the people out there who, like you and KK said, where you were following you call them you people, the gurus, who are consistently telling people every Friday their high-level sources, their gut is telling them blah, 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 blah. Imagine those people. You were once there, but you saw the light. You took the guidance that God has given you, and look where you are now. It's such a blessing. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Shaggy, you keep going, and I'm telling you, you're going to be set, locked, and sorted. We got people that are under contract for their wealth advisory to do their exchanges. We got people that already have brokerage accounts set up. They have their debit cards in hand. We got people who are receiving training modules. It's just, they know this is coming, and it's all in how you approach it. And you approach it professionally. You approach it methodically. You show them that you understand what you're invested in, that you have some wherewithal, you are knowledgeable, and you have the money mechanics, and you are a client they want to work with.
Right. That's right.
And that email proves everything, that he is wanting to work with you.
Yep. That's it. And Shaggy B, those the where you're at. Speaking of Lady Unique and what Wiley was saying about the relationships, the connections, the setups, the structures, Lady Unique is a prime example, one of the many prime examples of what Wiley was just stating about where people are within the process, way down the line, where they're just setting ready for it to happen. I'm not sure if you're aware. If you need to go back and listen to some of Lady Unique's stories, you can do that on YouTube, but she's a prime example.
Oh, I sure will. I sure will.
Yeah. She even had her currency authenticated.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And that was what motivated me. It's like, man, like I need to get to that point, and I need to find whatever confidence I have, and you're
already there. You've already gotten your confirmation. Whether or not you have your currency authenticated doesn't matter. You've already established the relationship with the actual banker who has confirmed to you that the global currency reset is going to happen. Just continue to nurture that relationship. And also, if you so choose, you can also establish other relationships if you so choose. But you've gotten something in writing, whereas others have gotten it verbally. Others have gotten, it's not cookie cutter. Everything is for everyone is unique in its own way. Your story is unique in its own way. Your confirmation is unique in its own way. You're already there. You just need to go ahead and finalize everything with establishing, nurturing your relationships, and you're all set.
Yep.
And just keep us in the loop. Go ahead.
I sure will keep y'all in the loop. Y'all have helped get me this far. So I'm definitely going to keep y'all in the loop.
And it's crazy because in the room the other day, you were like, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. We wrapped our arms around you. And then you came back to the room like it was a complete turnaround when you posted in the room of something that you just got in the email. Mm-hmm. Was this the email you were talking about?
Well, it was. So I had got an email from the bank, and then I got an email from the private wealth management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the private wealth management companies actually verified it. The bank was just eager to get me back in because I started. I started mentioning. I think I can't remember who I talked to, but I started mentioning the things that are happening overseas are really, helping what we had. I can't remember the exact verbiage now. And it's like literally once I said that and said that someone else was helping me, it lit a fire under his butt. It's like, no,
you told him that I'm going to leave you. I found another boo-boo. And this boo-boo wants to take me to a nice high-end restaurant. You were trying to take me to a little Golden Corral buffet. And he was like, okay, I'll take you to sushi. So he changed his mind when you told him you had another date.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I came back in the room with guns blazing. Like I won't be as ghetto as I was when I read the email. I was just like literally my neck and my fingers right now. Because I was like, you thought.
Hey, Freedom, we're going to have to make sure Shaggy's not dancing up in the wealth management office.
I know, I can see it.
We keep her calm because we've had unique.
Yes, you sure did. Yeah.
Go into the back of the parking lot behind the building and do your little dance and be happy.
Right.
No matter, I'll go park in the McDonald's that ain't far back because they expect that type of stuff there. So McDonald's in the parking lot.
Wow, she reminds me like a younger version of Lady Unique.
She does, yeah. I remember Lady Unique from the beginning. I'm like, I know you're excited. Why don't you save that happy dance for the car when you get back to the house?
Because first of all, I don't want nobody to see me dance because it's probably going to be a little bit offbeat, just a little bit, just a touch. But I'm like, now that I've had this call. Freedom, I told you I would behave, but I'm not going to behave for like 5 seconds.
Go and be yourself.
Because if I find my voice on anybody's YouTube, I'm going to tear the whole thing up. I'm reporting. I'm saying they were saying inappropriate stuff. Like, do not come for me because I do not bother nobody. But if you bother me, I'm going to tear your little channel up. That's exactly. That's all I had to say. Because
okay. I'm a offbeat dance, whatever. You just keep doing your dance, and you're going to be successful. You keep going, and you're going to get there. Yep.
That's right. You'll be just all right, beautiful. We appreciate you, Shaggy B. I knew you were gonna have me laughing. Thank you so much, and keep us posted on your meetings coming up and your communication coming up next week. We would love to hear you, and you'll be able to inspire other people. But congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
All right, beloved. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Freedom,
you.
Is it me,
yes,
or
sir.
did you set your alarm clock, the Lady Unique singing, to wake you up at 5 a.m. every morning?
Man.
Wouldn't that just be a motivator to get up, hearing her just sing like that?
I think I'll jump out the bed. My feet won't even touch the ground. I just,
I don't know. I'm pretty partial to Lady Unique, so she's aces in my book.
She is special. Yes, indeed. All right, Miss Peculiar Ram, can you please grace us with your presence, please?
Hi, everybody.
What you think about what you just heard from KK and Shaggy B?
I think it's awesome. Congratulations to you ladies. And I was screaming when Shaggy B said she gonna tear the channel up if she put her name on there. I was already screaming, tear it up, honey. But congratulations to both you beauties, and the sky is the limit. And I'm excited to hear you guys' updates in the room or on another Saturday call. Congratulations, ladies.
Yeah, it's amazing because I thought about you when Shaggy B was mentioning that she got that email from her, the private wealth manager, about confirming.
Yes.
And then I thought about you based on you with your private wealth manager and your in-depth conversations, communication with him face to face. You know, so it's amazing. It's amazing.
They're talking. They're starting to talk, but only to certain ones.
Right. Exactly right. That's right. All right. Beautiful folks. We're going to jump right into this. Folks, you're going to hear tonight exactly what, not only, of course, exactly what Goldilocks has been saying and sharing with us about the global currency reset, but you're going to hear confirmation and see in writing, for those that are able to follow along with what Shaggy B and KK talked about, the confirmation from the wealth manager. It's like in fact, I believe it was KK that talked about she watches the news, and Shaggy B. It's all public. What's happening is it's in the public domain now. It's right out in the open if you just know and pay attention to what's being said. So Goldilocks is going to share some of that right here with us tonight. Let's jump right into the first one by Goldilocks that we're going to bring to you tonight, beautiful people. And those listening on YouTube, you can join Shaggy B, who just like she had got her confirmation from her wealth manager that the global currency reset is happening and her holdings of foreign currency will go up. You can join Shaggy B, KK, and the tribe. We will wrap our arms around you with love. And just know, just like you heard Shaggy B and KK, they had their hiccups, but they adjusted. They got things together, came to the room. We helped them out. They followed the 8 steps. Now look where they are. You can be next. Click the link at the top of the description. You can be next. All right. Beloved, if you can go ahead now, folks, this is going to be on the tariffs. And like KK told you as well, she's paid attention to the tariffs. She knew something was going on. This is what Goldilocks has been saying for 5 years regarding trade. This is where Goldilocks has said, watch the water. Why? Because currencies change. They move on the water via trade. And tariffs is a part of trade. But these tariffs are forcing countries to do things with these currencies that even like Shaggy B's wealth manager confirmed to her. Let's go, young lady. The floor is yours.
The new international trading system, driven by reciprocal tariff agreements introduced in 2025, is significantly impacting global trade dynamics and influencing foreign currency exchange rates.
That's what Shaggy B's wealth manager just shared with her. Go ahead.
These tariffs, initiated by the United States under Executive Order 14257 on April 2nd, 2025, impose a baseline 10% tariff on imports from most trading partners, with higher reciprocal tariffs for countries with significant trade surpluses with the U.S. The policy aims to address large U.S. goods trade deficits, which reached $1.2 trillion in 2024, by targeting perceived non-reciprocal trade practices, including tariffs, non-tariff barriers, and currency practices. Tariffs alter trade flows, economic expectations, and investor sentiment, all of which influence currency values.
If you can read that last sentence you just tariffs alter trade, please. Thank you.
Tariffs alter trade flows, economic expectations, and investor sentiment, all of which influence currency values. Standard economic theory suggests that imposing tariffs should appreciate the tariff-imposing country's currency, example, the US dollar, by reducing imports, increasing domestic demand for local goods, and improving the trade balance. However, the unique scale and structure of the 2025 reciprocal tariffs have led to unexpected currency movements, driven by market reactions and portfolio rebalancing.
However, the unique scale and structure of the 2025 reciprocal tariffs have led to unexpected currency movements, driven by market reactions and portfolio rebalancing. Thank you for that confirmation, private wealth manager to Shaggy B. You can go ahead, young lady.
Tariffs introduce uncertainty, prompting markets to reassess economic growth prospects. After the April 2nd, 2025 announcement, markets downgraded U.S. growth expectations, leading to a surprising depreciation of the U.S. dollar against major currencies like the euro, yen, and pound. This was driven by reduced investor confidence in U.S. equities and a shift toward foreign assets.
Okay, 1 second, beloved. This is very important what she just read, what Peculiar Ram just read, and even more important, or just as important, the next paragraph. And I'm going to read this last one again. Tariffs introduce uncertainty, prompting markets to reassess economic growth prospects. After the April 2nd, 2025 announcement of tariffs, markets downgraded U.S. growth expectations, leading to a surprising depreciation of the U.S. dollar against major currencies like the euro, yen, and pound. Those are just some examples that Goldilocks was sharing. Basically, there has been a depreciation of the U.S. dollar against all currencies around the world as a result of these tariffs, folks, because as Goldilocks has been sharing with you for the last several weeks since the tariffs hit, is because, why is this happening to the U.S. dollar? Because countries are moving to utilize their own currencies in trade as a reaction to these tariffs versus utilizing the U.S. dollar. Now, this next paragraph that Peculiar Ram is going to read is going to make even more sense. Think the U.S. dollar losing its value. Think of the U.S. dollar depreciating. So what Peculiar Ram is going to read next, in this next paragraph, and then the following article is going to confirm exactly what Goldilocks was saying and confirms why Shaggy B's wealth manager shared with her what he did about currencies. Go ahead, young lady.
The tariff announcement triggered foreign investors to sell U.S. dollar-denominated assets, such as equities, and buy assets in other currencies, causing the dollar to weaken against G10 currencies. Emerging market currencies like the
Thai baht.
Thai baht. Ooh, look at right. And
Uh-huh.
South African rand depreciated
Mhm.
slightly, indicating varied impacts based on exchange rate regimes and trade dependencies.
So the announcement of these tariffs triggered foreign investors to sell US dollar denominated assets. Basically, folks, think of major investors that have an unlimited amount of money, billions and trillions of dollars, that they were holding US dollar denominated assets, meaning assets that are valued in US dollars. They're dumping them. They're dumping those assets because they're tied to the US dollar. I wonder why. You're going to see what Peculiar Ram is going to read next. That now this article that Peculiar Ram just read is like 3 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. And then here we have Goldilocks shares today. What happens with the US dollar? Go ahead, young lady.
The United States just lost its last AAA credit rating from Moody's, meaning the government is now considered less creditworthy. This could lead to increased borrowing costs for the U.S. and potentially impact financial markets, though the immediate market reaction is uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, losing a AAA credit rating could potentially affect foreign currency exchange rates, particularly if it undermines investor confidence in the U.S. dollar.
Mm-hmm.
A downgrade might lead to increased borrowing costs for the U.S., potentially causing investors to seek safer assets and reducing demand for the dollar.
Reducing demand for the dollar. The United States just lost its AAA credit rating. They've been downgraded to, I believe it's 1A.
Oh, wow.
So what this does to the US dollar? No, the US dollar, folks, don't have no fear. It's not going to crash or tank. What's happening is more countries around the world and major investors around the world have lost their confidence in the US dollar. Why? Well, that's because as a result of these tariffs, countries around the world, you got to remember, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency over the last 50 years. Well, what is the world's reserve currency? The majority of these countries around the world, folks, that do trade, that have been doing trade in the US dollar, not their own currencies, the US dollar. Why? Because the US dollar was considered to be the strongest currency in the world. Well, you see right now, that has changed. The US dollar, the US economy they've been downgraded. Well, and the previous article before that Goldilocks shared, as a result of the tariffs, investors, they are selling US dollar denominated assets. They're dumping the US dollar. What is a byproduct of that? The US economy's credit rating has now been downgraded as of today. Because as Goldilocks is sharing, investors are seeking safer assets away from the US dollar, the US dollar has been the safest currency and the safest asset in the world for over 50 years. Not anymore. Investors see that countries are now moving to utilize their own currencies. What will happen as countries utilize their own currencies? The demand for those currencies go up. And what happens when the demand for their currencies go up? Their values of their currencies go up. Folks, these are the currencies for which many of us hold. This is why Shaggy B's wealth manager shared with her via email, your holdings are going to go up in value. There's going to be a global currency reset. This is what Goldilocks is showing us. That's right in the public domain. But if you're not paying attention to what Goldilocks is sharing, you won't understand and know. But if you're paying attention to every Friday, every weekend, my high-level sources, my boots are on the ground, if you're paying attention to all that, you're not going to really understand what you hold. And in fact, Shaggy B even mentioned understanding and really understanding what you hold. But it's good, folks, to not only understand what you hold by just watching in the news, but the education that you receive in the Goldilocks rooms, Goldilocks main official channel, and the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. It's the education is unmatched, and I say that without ego because, as Lady Unique says, we have the receipts. We receipts. Okay, all right. So we're going to jump right into next. Does that make sense? What you just heard and what you just read, Peculiar Ram?
Of course.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I know if you understand it, everybody should understand it. That didn't sound right.
Yeah, it did, but I'm gonna let you slide. But y'all you break it down so that it's hard to not understand it.
Okay. You help me clean that up. All right. So on May the 15th, Goldilocks shared this next article. So that was 2 days ago. For those of you paying attention, what's happened in Syria. Now, on May the 15th, and you don't have to read the screenshot. I would like for you to read, Peculiar Ram, the first paragraph and then the part under bold, improved global trade, if you don't mind, beloved. Appreciate it.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Starting with peace in the Middle East.
Yes,
About the
please.
screenshot?
Yeah, no,
okay.
You're right. You're right.
Okay,
Peace in the Middle East.
Just making sure. Peace in the Middle East, particularly in Syria, is crucial for forex markets because it reduces global uncertainty and allows for more stable economic conditions, which can in turn positively impact currency values and trading. Conflict and instability in the region often lead to increased volatility and uncertainty in global markets, potentially affecting forex trading. Here's a more detailed explanation. Reduce uncertainty.
Okay, go ahead. You can do that. Go ahead.
Reduce uncertainty. Stable economic conditions, foreign investment, improved global trade, and decreased volatility.
What I would like for you to do, if you can go ahead and read under each bold, that'd be great too, because it all ties into everything. Go ahead. You're good.
Okay, sure. Reduce uncertainty. Peace in the Middle East, especially Syria, would decrease global uncertainty, which is a major factor influencing forex trading.
Okay, 1 second, beloved. Now, peace in the Middle East, folks, especially Syria, would decrease global uncertainty. So that means it would increase global certainty. So Goldilocks is saying is that peace in the Middle East, especially Syria, would decrease global uncertainty, which is a major factor influencing forex trading. You may understand why is Goldilocks saying this. Reason being, of course, Syria is in the Middle East. Syria has been in a war for the last 14 years. They have lost 500,000 people because of this war. 500,000 people killed in the last 14 years. Folks, Syria is a neighbor to Iraq, a neighbor to Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE. It's a Middle Eastern country. They're in the Middle East. They're all these countries, they have a brotherhood. They're very close. And Wiley knows this better than anyone with his experience in the Middle East. But think about this. How could Iraq or any country, but I'm thinking Iraq or any country, how could they revalue their currency when you have a country that's in the middle of a war? When a global currency reset affects all countries and all currencies, how can there be an equilibrium? How can there be a level playing field if you have a country in the middle of a war. Just think, President Trump started his Middle East tour this week to go and negotiate various deals. He negotiated the peace for Syria. Prior to that, a week before that, or maybe 2 weeks before that, he negotiated peace with Ukraine. They were in the midst of a war. All these countries, Syria, for example, Ukraine, they're major trade partners of Iraq, of Vietnam, and every other country in the U.S. and all. If they're in the middle of a war, how come there can't be a global currency reset? But now we see peace. And Goldilocks is sharing peace in the Middle East, especially Syria, would decrease global uncertainty. Folks, because when there is a country in the middle of a war, there's global uncertainty. Trade routes that go through that country that's in the middle of a war, they're affected.
Yeah.
Okay. Stable economic conditions. You can start there and go on down, young lady.
A stable Syria would allow for more predictable economic growth and trade, which are key drivers of currency values.
Mm-hmm.
Foreign investment. Peace would attract foreign investment to Syria, further stabilizing the economy and potentially boosting the value of the Syrian currency.
Mm-hmm.
Improved global trade. A peaceful Syria could lead to increased trade and economic cooperation with neighboring countries and the rest of the world, positively impacting global trade flows and potentially strengthening regional currencies.
Who are some of Iraq, the neighbors of Syria? Iraq. So a peaceful Syria could lead to increased trade and economic cooperation with neighboring countries and the rest of the world. Iraq's one of their neighbors. See, folks, just because you hear Syria and it's not Iraq, some people might think, oh, well, it's not important. That's Syria. It doesn't affect Iraq. No, yes, it does. It affects every country around the world. Because if we're going to be on a level playing field, there has to be peace.
Yes.
There has to be equilibrium with all countries. We're all in this together as a human family. As we've always said, this is a spiritual reset before it is a financial.
I was just about to say that.
So, folks, if there is a global currency reset and Syria is at war, Ukraine or other countries at war, they'll be left behind. With a reset of any type, spiritual or financial, no one can be left behind. It's just not going to happen. God will not allow it to be that way. Go ahead, young lady. Decreased volatility.
Decreased volatility. Peace in the Middle East would reduce market volatility, allowing traders to make more informed decisions and potentially increasing trading confidence.
Boom. So that Goldilocks shares this the other day, 2 days ago. And now today, or yesterday, I'm sorry, it's announced on May the 16th. The World Bank, if you can read that, World Bank says Saudi Arabia.
World Bank says Saudi Arabia and Qatar have paid off Syria's outstanding debts. Congratulations.
Boom. And if you can read underneath there where it says Syria has praised the move.
Sure. Syria has praised the move, stating it will allow the country to recover and rebuild following 14 years of turmoil.
14 years. This article, they're being nice saying turmoil. It's been 14 years of war.
Of hell, yeah.
Yes. So the World Bank says Saudi Arabia, where did Saudi Arabia and Qatar have paid off Syria's outstanding debt? Where did President Trump just travel to? Saudi Arabia and Qatar. He just went to Saudi Arabia, I think it was last Wednesday, went to Qatar on Thursday. Now both Saudi Arabia and Qatar pays off Syria's outstanding debt. Now Syria, and we've shared the articles, the supporting articles that shows right below that we're not going to read it, but we're just sharing it so that you all can see it for yourself. If you read the articles, it actually tells you and shows you that now Syria, they're already planning to do the reconstruction in Syria. now that their debts have been paid off by Saudi Arabia and Qatar, they can begin to rebuild their country. What happened? The same thing happened to Iraq with their war. And then now Iraq, they've been rebuilding. But now let's see what now is happening in Syria. Right below that, Syria to print new currency. Without Assad, that's their previous leaders, without his face. Syria's former leader, who has in the media called him a dictator, but they say that with anyone that just doesn't follow the program. But Syria, now they're printing new currency. So Trump goes into Saudi Arabia Wednesday, goes to cuts deals up to $1 trillion that Saudi Arabia has committed to investing in the U.S. from $600 billion to $1 trillion. They cut these deals with President Trump. Thursday, President Trump goes to Qatar. Friday, Saudi Arabia and Qatar pays off Syria's debt, and Syria announces, we're going to print new currency. We're going to get rid of the old currency. We're going to begin a reset. 3-4 days ago, Goldilocks said that this needed to happen. Does Goldilocks have what do you call those balls? Those crystal. See the future? Yeah, crystal. Does Goldilocks I can't even know what I forgot. Oh, I should have thought of what's her name? What's the Miss Cleo? Oh, that's before your time. Oh, you know about what? You know about Miss Cleo?
Me now.
Yeah. So, folks, it just really, if you understand. In fact, I have a screenshot. Let me share this screenshot. If someone clicks the link, I'm gonna share this into the room.
Not you asking if I know Miss Cleo.
Because crystal ball. So, folks, if you see, we just posted into the room. Syria. You see it? Mm-hmm. If you can read, I said Syria and Siri on my phone heard it. If you can, these are going. Mm-hmm. If you can read that for us, please. Syria to print new currency.
Syria to print new currency without Assad's face in UAE and Germany instead of Russia.
So Russia was printing Syria's currency. Now they're going to shift to the UAE and Germany and go to print their currency, and it's going to be new. They're making sure that Assad's face won't be on this new currency, having it go back to Russia to print their currency. They're like, Russia, we're going to have a whole two other countries print our currency. So this is a shift. Now Syria, what's next, as Goldilocks said, what's next for them is a reset. Why do you think? This is not just because of Syria, but what's happening with tariffs, why Shaggy B's wealth manager shared with her exactly what other wealth managers have shared with other members, exactly what Goldilocks has been sharing of the effects of tariffs and how it will level the playing field. So when Trump announced the tariffs, Goldilocks has always said this will reset the global economy because why? Tariffs is trade on the water. So, folks, if this is right in writing, this is in your face. You can read it yourself. Goldilocks said this happens in Syria. It's going to be a game changer of the importance of peace in the Middle East. If there is one country in the Middle East that's in the midst of a war, Iraq cannot and will not revalue their currency. because they're so close, not only in proximity, but in trade with each other. They depend on each other. Syria is no longer at war. They're printing new currency and preparing for their own reset. Now, last but not least, we're going to share with you all a quick update on the intel call with the real boots on the ground that in Iraq.
That's right. Real boots on the ground.
If you could read this, beloved, well, I appreciate it.
Yes. The freedom fighter and myself had a brief meeting with our CBI banker contact in Iraq. Iraq has currently connected all of their ports to Ascada digital platform system, which will enable them to do international trade through all of their shipping ports surrounding Iraq. Currently, bilateral trades still have to be negotiated between countries and banking systems.
And also, I'm sorry, one beloved, when Goldilocks mentions about the Ascada system, which is, folks, this is the automated customs system at all of the Iraqi ports. This is how is trade done? Through the ports. Tariffs are through ports. And so, as what Goldilocks is sharing is that this digital system, and the CBI confirmed on our call the other day that they've completed connecting all of their ports. Basically, this is their ports being connected to the new digital asset-based trading system, the new banking system, which some of you may know the name of the quantum financial system. This is how the dinar will move throughout the world through these ports digitally. Now, when Goldilocks is saying this will enable them to do international trade through all their shipping ports surrounding Iraq, currently bilateral trades still have to be negotiated. Folks, these ports are connected to other countries. Iraq is a major trade partner of Syria and other countries in the Middle East and around the world. Very important. Go, young lady, at this time.
At this time, Iraq has secured international correspondent banking relationships with Standard Chartered, JP Morgan, Citibank, Barclays, and DBS in Singapore. Their banking systems have not currently listed the Iraqi dinar as a product inside these banks, but they have connections that are now making it possible for them to do so.
So what the CBI confirmed with us, folks, here is that they confirm what has been in writing already thus far that has been shared publicly. They confirmed that the CBI and Iraq's banking system has connected to these international correspondent banks. These international correspondent banks, will be responsible for moving the Iraqi dinar throughout the world because these banks have international connections. They have an international footprint throughout the world. Therefore, they will be able to move the dinar through their banking systems. But as Goldilocks confirmed, and as the CBI confirmed with us, the Iraqi dinar is not currently listed. It's not currently listed, but it is connected through these banks. So basically, for a terminology that you all understand, that the switch has not been flipped. However, their banking systems, Iraq's banking systems, have not currently listed. These international correspondent banks haven't listed the Iraqi dinar. However, they're there. The dinar is there at those banks. Once they're listed, that means the switch has been flipped. But folks, you got to understand this, because I know many of you follow and listen to the guru, foo-foo, poo-poo, doo-doo. So you are thinking that, oh, Iraq is just going to flip a switch and then the RV will happen. Folks, Iraq is connected to the global financial system, and the global financial system is connected to Iraq. This is a global event. There will be several things that must occur, still just like the WTO, and other things, regulations that must happen. So what the CBI did confirm It's at these international banks that will move the dinar throughout the international banking system. They did confirm the dinar is connected to these banks. Go, young lady. The World Trade Organization.
The World Trade Organization is still collecting information from all of the countries around the world who are negotiating with the United States bilateral and free trade agreements to remove reciprocal tariffs.
See, folks, this is because majority of the countries around the world, it's actually there's 189 countries, 189 plus 190, whatever the number is, but 122 countries are members of the World Trade Organization. What is the World Trade Organization? This is the organization that has certain guidelines for countries to do trade amongst each other, and existing contracts that were negotiated between these countries within the WTO to do trade amongst each other. We know that Iraq, and the CBI confirmed in our previous call with them a couple of months ago, they're still finalizing the paperwork with the WTO to get full accession into the World Trade Organization. But as we are in the midst of tariff negotiations with all these various countries, these various countries are members of the World Trade Organization. These negotiations between these countries and the U.S. have to be finalized. Nonetheless, pertaining to Iraq specifically, they're connected to these international correspondent banks that are all interlinked to the WTO as well. You can go, young lady. An additional note.
An additional note, we did talk about their banking reserves and holding a great deal of gold for the country. Once Basel III compliance is activated in these correspondent banking systems Iraq has relationships with takes place, we will be living in a different world.
See, because July 1st, we will have a new banking system based on gold. That's globally. That's Basel III. Basel III. Gold, folks, is a safe haven asset. We have, as Goldilocks shared in the previous articles, whereas these countries around the world are ditching the US dollar because it once was a safe haven, it was a safe asset. But these countries are selling off their US dollar denominated assets because they are now going to be investing in foreign currencies. Well, they already have, but more so. But ultimately, it's because these countries are moving to gold as their safe haven number one asset, whereby the US dollar will no longer be the king of the castle, whereby countries own and their own currencies through their own sovereignty, their own independence will be able to take form. How? Through the new digital asset-based trading system that all countries are connecting to with gold and other commodities as their safe haven assets. So with Basel III, which is the gold based system, the asset-based trading system, Basel III goes live July 1st. That's the end game. Majority of the banks around the world already are Basel III compliant with July 1st, making sure that all banks actually, as of October the 1st last year, all large banks, tier 1 banks, are Basel III compliant as of October the 1st of 2024. This is why Wiley and myself has suggested from the beginning for folks to establish relationships at tier 1 banks. We knew they were Basel III compliant because as tier 1, they had to be as of October the 1st last year. July 1st coming up this year is the end game, whereby small and medium-sized banks will now be compliant with Basel III. Does that all make sense to you, young lady?
Yep, sure does.
All right. Let's get if KK and Shaggy B are still here. If you ladies, if you can unmute, if you're still here, and if you have dropped off, gone to sleep, whatever it may be, that's understandable. That's fine. If Shaggy B or KK is still here, if not, if you can, I guess they are off. Okay. Wiley, if you want to come back to the mic, my good man, glad you are still here. You want to add anything, throw anything, your 2 cents, or anything you want to share?
Nope, I think you pretty much said it all this evening.
All right, beautiful. Oh, there's KK. All right, thank you, Wiley. Appreciate it. KK, if you can unmute KK. You can do it.
You know,
Hello?
growing up, I used to always hear people say "peace in the Middle East." It was kind of like a slogan we all used to say
Oh,
whenever we would say hi or whatever. You know,
yeah,
like peace
yeah.
in the Middle East, and to
Uh-huh.
actually see it manifest in my lifetime, not thinking much of it growing up as a
Mm-hmm.
girl, and to see how, like you said, like I'm in this position where I'm studying and looking at the peace in the Middle East and how that ultimately will affect my life. It's just
Mm.
like a come around moment, I think, for
Yeah,
me.
full circle.
Full circle
Beautiful.
moment. Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. All right. KK,
Yes.
now, does this all make sense? Does it connect for you now that you've heard all this, including hearing Shaggy B's uh, confirmation from her wealth manager in writing that the global currency reset is going to happen and foreign currencies, her holdings will go up in value, and then hear what Goldilocks has shared? Does this all hit home and make sense to you?
Absolutely. I was shocked when I heard that she got that email. I want one.
I know, right?
I guess I have to make a better relationship with some people.
But at least you know they're talking. That's all. That's the good
Absolutely.
thing.
And
Yes.
You know
KK,
that they're talking.
I don't think that you were in the room at the time when Peculiar Ram, because you've been in the room really 2 weeks. Over a
Right.
month ago, Peculiar Ram shared with us that her private wealth manager, whom she met at the nail salon for a date with her kids and his kids,
Hmm.
and actually he came 2 hours away to
2
meet with
hours.
you. 2 hours.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Where so KK, Peculiar Ram's wealth manager, his wife has foreign currency.
Yep.
Oh,
He shared that with Peculiar Ram, and if his wife has foreign currency, he got foreign. But Peculiar Ram, you
right.
can share that. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. His wife has foreign currency. He drove 2 hours away. It was supposed to be kind of like it was an unofficial but official meeting for the first
Hmm.
time. He was visiting family and we met up in a mutual place. It was very much my speed and I was able to kind of like talk to him behind the scenes and stuff because he wasn't in the office. And he did share some things. And one of those things was that his wife is a holder of foreign currency. Of course, he was still kind of talking a little bit coded, but like Freedom said, if his wife holds it, he holds it. He's going to be the one to help her manage and grow. And like I pulled a you, I said, I want one. I want
Right.
somebody to come and manage I need you to do for me what you're doing for your wifey over there. Okay. So,
Well, how,
when
how
you
did
have
you
that
get him to
relationship,
tell you that?
well, I didn't say anything. And like I was saying on the call that I spoke about this, I wasn't going to say anything about currencies.
Hmm.
But we started talking about the tariffs and things like that. I was trying to pick his brain on what they're saying on their end and what I'm seeing. And just normal conversation. And I did tell him that, in so many words that I have assets and things like that. And I was saying, it's a lot that's going on across the seas, just having my wits. Now, mind you, me and him have been talking for months before we met. So we have
Okay.
already kind of established, yes, we had already kind of established a relationship. I want to say at least um like 4 months maybe of us
Hmm.
talking. So yes, the foundation was already kind of set. So when you get in person with them, man, it's a totally different energy, especially if you know how to kind of like talk your way through and just kind of like, throw little hints out there. They will grab if they feel comfortable with you. They will bite. And being that I have had this relationship with him, and I told him I have some assets and some that I physically hold, and I didn't even say anything much more than that. And I was just like, and I told him, I said, I have a huge portfolio. And he was like, oh, wow, yes. So then that's when he told me, his wife has assets that she holds as well, specifically foreign currency. And I was
He
like, oh,
he
really? She
he
does
he,
now.
he
That's
knew
so
what you were.
interesting.
He knew what you were talking about when
He
you were
knew
being coded.
he knew what I was. He was looking at me and I was looking at him, and we kind of like we were like, okay, we're gonna talk in codes right now. But it wasn't, until after that we met, that him and I have been having many more phone calls. And Freedom will talk about that, me and you, but
Mhm.
diving more into foreign currencies. But like I said, I had this relationship established 4 months before that was even brought up. So I don't even really
Wow.
like saying it on the phone call because I know
Yeah,
people will
yeah,
take it and run with it. So
yeah,
I have to
yeah.
emphasize that I started my relationship with him, I want to say back in like maybe September or October of last
Hmm.
year. So it's
Okay,
been
so
a
I got a ways to
while.
go.
So he, it's between you and them. I wouldn't say anything. Just like I didn't really say much. I didn't say, oh, I have foreign currencies. I have Iraqi dinar. I have the Vietnamese
Mhm.
dong. I never said any of that. I wasn't even going to say anything for these past 5 months. I hadn't even said what I hold. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't until we
Yeah.
got in person, and I kind of felt him out a bit, and he was able to fill me out. And then I disclosed a little bit more. He disclosed some. So now we're at a pretty good level, and
Hmm.
we're
Gotcha.
maintaining when it comes to expressing what we have and things like that. So that's the only reason. But please, guys, do not do not
Hmm.
mention that you hold foreign currency. Do not try to get that out of your wealth manager. Do not try to pick their brain to see what they know about it, what they think
Hmm.
about it. Please do not try to do this. Like I said, I've been talking to him for like 4 or 5 months. But yes, they are talking.
Hmm.
Okay.
Some of them have it, and they're
Hmm.
not going to say anything. I don't advise you do it either, or anybody else. I know you won't because you're smart, but
No. Right.
anybody listening for
Right.
the first time, please
Just
don't go
focus.
running in there. You will get
Right.
blacklisted.
Just focus on building your relationships.
Yes.
That's all you guys need to do is just follow what Wiley and myself and the tribe are showing you and teaching you. That's it. What you think about what you just heard from Peculiar Ram, KK?
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited.
you just go at your pace.
Right.
Just don't need to compare your journey
Right.
with
Hmm.
anyone else's. It's yours because look, for example, KK, if someone were to hear how within 2 weeks you came into the room and you took the steps, followed to the T, got a face to face with the wealth manager, and now the following week have a face to face with a private wealth manager. If they were to try to do what you did, they may not be able to do it. It may take them a month, 2 months.
Sure.
Took you 2 weeks. That's
It took me 5 months almost. So
it.
it's all relative to your journey and what comes
Right,
natural,
right.
because this is yours. So congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations,
you.
Yeah.
KK.
But
Thank
and
you.
we see
And
so much
Shaggy B.
see so much in you, KK, with the way that you've just taken the steps and followed right along the way. And yeah, absolutely, Kieran and Shaggy B, we we're here for you. The tribe is with you. Whatever you need to help get you through, just come to the room. We'll guide you through.
Yeah.
God
All
bless you
right.
guys.
Yes, indeed. God bless you as well. All right, beautiful folks. And Wiley, we good to go? If you're still here. All
Yep,
right.
good to
Wally
go,
pull,
Freedom.
Good to, all right.
I was about to say Wally pulling to me. Knocked out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Thank you for following. And this was very, very fruitful tonight. And we hope that
Mhm.
everyone got something out of it. Folks, establish your relationships. You have it within you to do so. For those listening on YouTube, just click the link at the top of the description. You can join the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. As always, we'll wrap our arms around you with love and show you the way. and we're there for you. Everyone have a good night. Be well, be kind, stay grounded. We love you guys. Take care. Good night.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.